Last week, 2 grizzly cubs were hit by a car and killed in Yoho National Park. And the same day, the mother bear, bear 178, or how locals know her, Nakoda, was also hit by a car the same day in a separate incident. A passing train spooked the grizzly, and the bear ran up onto the road where one car was able to swerve and avoid a collision, and a second car wasn't.
We were really optimistic that she may have been able to actually recover from this collision. However, unfortunately, she was confirmed deceased by the wildlife management team on Saturday, June 8th. And this was after we received a mortality signal from her GPS collar.
Nakoda was really good at climbing fences. In previous years, the bear scaled over fencing meant to exclude wildlife from the road to get a taste of dandelions, which sometimes is the first food source for wildlife when spring comes. And because of her acrobatics, these antics had to be constantly supervised.
Since 2022, our Parks Canada Wildlife Management team has actually spent a significant amount of time, and I mean hundreds upon hundreds of person hours managing Bear 178. And this was work that just often involved accompanying her, from dawn to dusk as she just occupied the roadside habitats. And with that investment of time, the team really developed a strong fondness and connection with Bear 178. And I'll say for myself, just weeks ago, everyone in our office were actually celebrating her emergence from the den with 2 new cubs. And for us, this was a reproductive success for what is a species of special concern in Banff National Park. And now her death. And it's actually devastated the team that was so deeply invested in really trying to prevent this outcome.
Officials say with the bear's frequent visits to the road and the amount of attention Nakoda attracted because of her unique coloring meant Bear 178 was very habituated to people. It's a pattern of behavior that can escalate over time, and officials say often leads to bad outcomes for bears. All of these interactions made humans seem like less of a threat, which means that Nakoda was really hard to scare away from the road and from that roadside snack she loved. Like, she really loved dandelions.
It's been suggested that she returned to the highway that day to mourn her deceased cubs. And really, this is an example of anthropomorphizing bear behavior. In reality, bears often eat their deceased young, which humans might not see as an act of mourning. On that day, our wildlife management specialist observed Grizzly 178 along the highway several times between the incident where her cubs were struck that morning and between the time that she was herself struck later that day. In all those incidents, she never displayed any signs of distress. She wasn't running back and forth across the highway. She was observed each and every time foraging for dandelions along the roadside, in the ditch, just a behavior that was really typical for her.
Parks Canada did a lot to make this one stretch of highway safe, but officials say that people had a role to play too. This is a reminder, Sondi said, to give wildlife space. So 3 bus lengths or 30 meters for those smaller deer, elk, sheep, and moose, and 100 meters from those bigger carnivores like bears, wolves, cougars, and coyotes.
But preferably if you're on the Trans-Canada or busy highway, just not to stop at all. It's just super dangerous for people. And as we've seen, it just doesn't serve bears very well either.